Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Tesla. And of course, as always, that relates to Tesla stock as well. Anytime that we get some sort of Tesla news, it's always likely to affect Tesla stock in some sort of way. And sometimes we don't really see the result of that. Sometimes the news does affect purchasing decisions for investors, but it's just not enough to make a difference in what we actually see with the market. So these pieces of news and articles definitely have some sort of influence on investors, like myself as well. I take it in consideration when doing my homework on these companies, and of course in combination with all of the other factors for this company. But like I just mentioned, depending on how much traction stock and company news does get, then that all relates to the stock movements as well. Because if you see positive news around Tesla stock, or let's say some of the other popular ones out there like Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Shopify, when you see positive news like that, depending on how popular that news gets and how many people it reaches, it does have some sort of influence. So to me, it's always interesting to see what kind of news causes the stock to go up, and then also what kind of news causes the stock to go down. But like I said, with some of these pieces of news, they're definitely relevant to the company and extremely important to those that are paying attention, but sometimes those pieces of news are just not enough to actually cause a significant movement in the market. And honestly, a lot of the times when we do see movements, most times we can't directly draw conclusions and say that a specific movement correlates to a specific piece of news that was recently released. So a lot of the times, all we can really do is estimate and guess and predict as to why we saw a specific stock movement, whether it's up or down. But of course, it's always just interesting to keep up with these various pieces of news, and also to try and predict maybe why the stock has been pulling back recently, and also the other movements that it makes in the future, such as hopefully we'll be talking about, maybe in a few months, why the stock skyrocketed once again. So as always with these videos, I just love to talk about different news. For one thing, it provides you all with more information as well that I see as valuable. And for another thing, I just get a lot of enjoyment out of these videos. So if you do enjoy these Tesla videos, whether it's Tesla news, whether it's Tesla stock analysis, or some just random general discussions about this company, then please make sure to smash that like button. It really does help me out, and I greatly appreciate it. But let's just get right into this content for today. We actually had another CEO mentioning, an automotive CEO at that, let me mention that, but another CEO stating that Tesla is way ahead of the rest of the competition, and this CEO specifically stated that Tesla is 2 years ahead. So this is kind of similar to what we've been hearing out of the Volkswagen CEO. I think his name is Herbert Diess or Herbert Diess, but he pretty much said the same exact thing recently, in which he stated that internally they are calling their plan the Tesla catch-up plan. So for Volkswagen, they actually have a named plan internally called the Tesla catch-up plan. And the CEO of Volkswagen actually recently stated that Tesla was way ahead of everyone else in terms of not only just the battery efficiency, but also the full self-driving technology, their software, their user interface, and everything like that. So when you have a major legacy automaker competitor to Tesla basically saying that Tesla is doing everything right and is way ahead of the competition, then that's really something that investors like myself and you all as well, some of you all, should be paying attention to. Because when the competition is basically waving the white flag in the air and admitting defeat and basically saying, okay, we got to get our stuff together because we are way behind this other company, when they're saying that, then that really just emphasizes the value in Tesla right now. And this was just a recent piece of news around this company. And so in my opinion, that lack of competition and that lack of a genuine competitor really does help with that stock price representation right now. Because as I've said previously, yes, with Tesla, I think you're just going to have to pay a premium if you'd like to buy in, unless you get extremely lucky and buy on like one of the big dips, like how we had one on March 20th at this $400 price tag. But honestly, I think this stock is so highly valued and at a premium because people understand with other stocks in the stock market, you can predict in the future. But one thing for most stocks and most companies out there, one thing that there's always just a little bit of risk to is the fact that a competitor could start becoming a little bit better as a company and start competing more with the stocks you're interested in and the companies you're interested in. For example, like with Apple, I think Apple is a fantastic company, but at least with that, you have other competitors, such as like up-and-coming Chinese companies like Huawei, Oppo. Yes, there's a lot of controversial aspect to those Chinese companies, but that's just my example. Then you also have Samsung, which actually takes up like 30% 30% of the phone market share compared to Apple taking up 25% of the phone market share. So at one point, Apple was dominating, but they eventually started getting competition that was keeping up with Apple and able to compete with them. And we see that now. But with Tesla, I think the reason the share price is so significant right now is because, at least in the future, we almost have like a guarantee that Tesla is going to be successful, at least in these upcoming like 3 years, just because there's not really any other competition out there right now. And we have companies like General Motors and Volkswagen and companies like that talking about how in the upcoming years, they'll be able to develop some electric vehicles. But when you look at the specifics on those vehicles, even like the mileage per charge is still not as good as what Tesla was at like 2-3 years ago. And most of the electric vehicles that exist right now aren't even as good as the Model S was back in 2012. So my point is, why Tesla stock is so high, in my opinion, like why the price is so high, is because you have an advantage with this stock that you don't have with many other companies and stocks that exist right now. And that is the fact that there is just no competition that is able to even compete with Tesla right now. And even in the upcoming future, like if we look at like the next 2 to 3 years, in terms of just what companies have been talking about in terms of vehicle releases, we just haven't seen anything that has blown our mind yet, aside from what Tesla is doing. So you're really paying a premium for that lack of competition. And when you have a lack of competition, that means that Tesla is likely to excel in the future because it doesn't have that competition and it's able to grow more based on the sales that it has been getting. So that's the advantage. That's why Tesla has a lot priced in already, because they just simply don't have a lot of competition. And with that, let's go ahead and check out this article by caradvice.com. And also thank you to the author of this article named Susanna Guthrie. And this article states, Audi CEO, Tesla is 2 years ahead of the curve. So just with this title alone right here, we have the CEO of Audi. I believe he's a new CEO recently. I think like late 2019 is when he entered in as CEO. But as we know, Audi is associated with Volkswagen as well. Volkswagen actually owns a majority stake of Audi. So I feel like there is some similarities in terms of the thinking with Volkswagen and Audi as well. Both this CEO and Herbert Diess from Volkswagen are both on board with the ideology that Tesla is just simply way ahead of all of these other automakers. And in my opinion, these people are both on the right track, because for one thing, the first way to solve the problem is to admit what is happening and admit the issues that are occurring that are preventing you from solving that problem. So like I said, Tesla is way ahead, even according to the Audi CEO, the Volkswagen CEO. So let's get farther into this article. And right here it states, Audi hopes to develop an all-new autonomous electric car by 2024, but its boss admits they're already behind. Right here it states, Audi's new CEO believes Tesla has a major head start on the rest of the automotive industry, admitting his company has some catching up to do in the electric car space. Marcus Duesman, who took the helm at Audi on April 1st, 2020, so he actually took it more recently than I thought, said Elon Musk's company is 2 years ahead of Audi when it comes to the development of in-car software, autonomous capabilities, and battery technology. So this is something that I really want to emphasize with this video as well, and that is the fact that not only is this CEO of Audi admitting that Tesla has an advantage in one aspect of the car realm, but he's talking about three major aspects, three game-changing aspects that consumers are eventually going to consider more when it comes to their vehicle purchases. And that is, for one thing, the in-car software. Now, this is actually fairly new to the car genre because we've never really had to think about software for our vehicles. Yes, I mean, you have the typical radio interface and just how easy it is to navigate, but now Tesla has really added something completely new in terms of like a whole interface with so many different settings all available digitally instead of just having buttons in your vehicles. So it's not like the CEO is saying that Tesla is just ahead in their full self-driving technology or just their battery technology. They're mentioning all three of these things. So all of these three aspects could be considered part of Tesla's moat, which is a competitive advantage that they have right now. And this is really something that I want to emphasize as well. So like I said, you have these three factors. Not only are they just ahead in one or two things, but they are ahead in three things according to the CEO of Audi. And like I said, that is in-car software, autonomous capabilities, and battery technology. So huge advantages in many different types of things. So let's just consider this. Audi is talking about how they are 2 years behind in these factors right now, in these capabilities. But let's just keep in mind, when they come up with a timeline like this, that means that they expect to efficiently and correctly figure out how to come up with similar and just as efficient software, autonomous capabilities, and battery technology just in 2 years. So they're saying that within 2 years, they believe that they can catch up to where Tesla is at in 2020. Now, keep in mind, that is an ideological prediction, meaning that they are expecting themselves to figure out how to master all three of these factors in 2 years. Now, on a more realistic approach to this, I think they're going to have a lot more issues, as with a lot of other legacy automakers, in addition to just all of these other issues with having to transition their factories from developing and manufacturing ICE vehicles to electric vehicles. That's a whole nother side thing. But my point is that it's probably going to be a lot more difficult for these companies to catch up than they think. So I actually think they are more than 2 years behind. I think they are going to encounter some more problems than they are expecting, because as we all know, it's not easy to just develop these car software, autonomous capabilities, and of course improve batteries as well on a declining cost curve. So I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult than they are expecting, and that's one of the main reasons why we're seeing announcements for vehicles coming out in 2022 that still don't even have similar metrics to Tesla in the year of 2020 right now. So I think that it may be a little bit more difficult for these companies to adapt to where Tesla is right now, even in 2 years in the future. So keep in mind, if they are trying to catch up with Tesla right now and Tesla is still improving, then that just means in 2 years they would have caught up to where Tesla was at in 2020, while Tesla is still 2 years ahead in the future. So they really have to do a lot of work at this point, and Tesla seems to be in the growth stage more than any other automotive company right now. So this is a huge advantage. And just going further into this article, the CEO also mentions that currently Tesla has larger batteries because their cars are built around the batteries, and then he also states Tesla is 2 years ahead in terms of computing and software architecture and in autonomous driving as well. So that's pretty much the end of the article in terms of just the CEO talking about Tesla. So with this video, I just wanted to emphasize even more the advantage that Tesla does have, and I just think that a lot of people don't realize this right now. Some of you all do, of course, I know that, but I'm talking about more of the people on the sidelines that aren't invested in Tesla right now, that are still wondering what all the hype is about. And with these videos, that's what I try to explain a little bit more. So if you all did enjoy this and found this video useful, please make sure to smash that like button. It really does help me out. And also, feel free to sign up to Robinhood and Webull in the description below with my referral link. If you sign up with those links, then you'll get some free stocks. And especially with Webull right now, you can get up to 60 free stocks depending on how much you deposit into that account. So it's nice passive income. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.